from a AAA company. Yes, we're forming a connection with local companies that are doing awesome things for this area and hopefully for you guys back and forth, right? We want this to be a beneficial relationship. We want to help them. They want to help you. We were over there visiting and talking with them, and they got some great goals as a company about what they're trying to get accomplished and so on. But they do and are definitely looking for really talented people, and hopefully you guys are those really talented people. We'll find out sooner rather than later. But like I said, I'd like to start by thanking particular people, obviously thanking the school as a whole and all the individuals that help out from the faculty and the staff. Of course, let's individually thank each of the faculty that help out specifically here in the production studios, and that would include the 8. We now have 8 game teachers, game staff. So let's go over them with kind of an order of seniority, i.e. how long you've been here. Number 1's Derek Clark, our fearless leader. Yes, super talented, super helpful. I've never had a better boss. And then we have Lynn right after that, Lynn Understiller, or Tammy if you know her by that, or Lammy if you want to call her that way, or however you guys set it up. Right? Yeah, Lynn is actually the brainchild behind all of this. She's the one that's been pushing it for years, has developed it, written tons of documentation on it, put a ton of blood, sweat, and tears into this. So, and to be fair, as I mentioned, the 2 with the most seniority are the 2 that just happen to be teaching the production studio classes. That's not a coincidence, of course. So let's give a hand to both Derek and Lynn for that. All right, so next on the list is George Portillo. He is clearly the most extroverted, most best dressed out of all of us. And we joke, we're always making fun of each other, and we joke that George has, only one talent. So he's a one-trick pony. However, as he puts it, how do you put it?
I don't know.
It's one damn good trick. Yes, it's one damn good trick. So
I think there's another word for that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to use it. So, anyways, but yeah, I mean, George, time and time again, every semester is one of the highest-ranked teachers in the school. So we definitely appreciate him being here and helping us out with that. So after that is me. I qualify because I'm loud, and that's why I MC. That's it. That's all I do. All right. And of course, right after that, we have Hugh Henry right there. There he is, our awesome. He's actually the only teacher, I believe, who is qualified to teach in 4 of the 5 degrees that we have as a game staff. So he's the only one qualified to teach the master's program because he's the only one working on getting his doctorate. So I guess by default, he is the smartest of all of us. And to be fair, I've actually learned a ton from him over the years, probably more than anybody else. Derek's close, but I think I've learned a ton from just listening to Hugh talk. He's a super awesome guy and helps out with all of the degrees and the students just the same. After that, we have Adam Moore, who's been around in a very long capacity, actually. He's been around at UAT for a really long time as a student, as an employee. He actually teaches at, is it halftime that you're teaching, or is you're just doing a couple adjunct classes?
Just a couple adjunct.
But he teaches the Game 125 class, which is a super important class. Adam, I think, is a robot. I'm not sure. He knows so much. He's super talented, the things he does. And he helps out a lot in the community as far as the game community goes. He's always volunteering with IGDA. He's always volunteering at GDC. In fact, he spent his entire GDC just volunteering and helping stuff. So he's an awesome guy, too, so we can give him a hand. After that, we have Mark Feldman. He's not here, but he is a pretty awesome guy, too. He comes in with a lot of experience that rivals pretty much Lynn's experience. We have these 2 faculty that have been around doing things for a very long time, a lot of knowledge. He's saved Hugh's butt because he helps him spread out his wealth through this other thing as he comes in and helps out with the game programming thing. He's actually pretty funny, too, if you actually talk to him. He's not as funny as me. I'm definitely the best. But he is a really funny guy. He's also from New York, so I give him credit and so forth. But he's not here, unfortunately, today, but we can still give him a hand. And then last but not least, Donald Cephas. He's actually just been hired as an adjunct here. He's a alumni of the school. You guys know him pretty well because he's been helping out in production studios, but he's gotten a lot of experience the last several years leading teams and so forth. I've never seen anyone present better than him. You're going to see that today. He's an amazing presenter, and we're really proud to bring him in to teach some of our classes here and help free up some of our time too. So let's give him a hand again. right, so there's all of our game staff that's helping out, that kind of helps make this happen. But what is the Greenlight process and how does this work? Well, obviously, every semester we have our production studios, and the production studios are students getting together and actually making games like they were working in a real company. I don't think there's much better value you can get in a program than having a setup like that, and we all believe in that, and that's why we push this and help this out. But at the end of every term, students get a chance to pitch their ideas that they have. And as teachers and faculty, we get together and we talk about which are the best ones, and we greenlight them into the semester following and help them build these games and these ideas that they have and make something awesome. And we've seen some major improvements over the last several years as the students continue to make games. It just keeps upping the ante. Things just get better and better and better. It's really surprising. I've been here for over 5 years now, and I remember some of the first ones I saw were okay, but we're getting to the point now where some of these are super impressive for student work. I mean, it's just really insane, and you guys are awesome, so let's keep it up. Let's give another hand. All right, so that's pretty much all I got as the intro. I'll turn the time over to Derek for any potential announcements, and we can then just jump straight into the presentations.
I'm afraid that's all the time we have.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm going to keep mine short. Matt started to allude to what this process is. It is a process Lynn and I have been building probably for 7 to 10 years. And in Matt's great introductions, he actually forgot to introduce Tony and Deb Zuri, who have joined us from other production studios. So welcome. Thank you guys for joining us.
I said it was a game team.
So one of the things that we've worked hard to is to mirror what industry is going to be like, right? So the idea of production studio came about of, instead of just going to class and doing what your instructor tells you to do, let's form teams, let's use Scrum, let's actually run like a studio. I half joke and half serious about it. While we don't have full-time developers, our developers are part-time because they are students. We have, over the years, been one of the biggest developers in Arizona. We peaked out at one time with 220 simultaneous game developers building projects for us. We run about 70 to 100 most terms. So at any one time, I've got 70 to 100 game developers building stuff in the state of Arizona, which is awesome and absolutely great. So a couple of quick just announcements. We always like to talk about tech that we're getting in. So new tech that's starting for the spring. We got the 2 HTC Vives with the wireless adapters on them. They'll be using one of those in the communication meltdown demo today. We also just picked up 2 Magic Leap 1s, so those are in the NT lab as well. So kind of keep that stuff open. Adam was introduced. Every Thursday for the students, we do an IGDA meeting at 7:30.
Yep.
In here. So make sure that you're doing that. And as always, follow us on social media. If you search any social media platform, or YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, / UAT Game Studios, you will find us. Please follow, like, subscribe. All right, that's enough for me. Lynn, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, so the next phase is going to break up. You'll notice we've got a big list on the board. They're kind of broken up into 3 categories. The first 3 projects are current projects within the studio. Actually, everything down to Aegis is currently in the studio. The first 3, this is it for them. They are retiring out of our studio and going their own separate ways, whether that is to work with an LLC to publish on Steam or what have you. These 2 have been with us for about a year. And then Junior Achievement is an external partnership that we're moving out of the studio, but we're still running over the next year. So they'll present first. They will present their presentation more along the lines of here's what we've accomplished. Then we've got our middle group, gray area down to Aegis. These are current game studios, and Aegis is our ACS studio project. They will be pitching, also showing what they have accomplished so far, but then they are going to talk about, and here's what I want to do next if I would get greenlit. In our model, just because you've been in our studio doesn't mean you get to stay in our studio. You have to prove every term that you belong. So these guys will be repitching to try to get back in for another term of development. And then down here at the bottom, we've got some new teams that are coming in, some brand new projects that we haven't seen before. So those will be exciting as well. And then just in case, we always throw it open to anybody else that forgot to tell us, to get put on the schedule. Once we get done with that, we've lined them all up over here. We'll bang through those quickly as possible, 3 to 5 minutes. Then we will break out. Depending on people's availability, we will make an announcement on what's going to happen. We'll get together this afternoon, and we will actually do a couple of things. We will announce the ones that we're Greenlight. We'll let you know today, right? We don't delay this out. That way we can start the pre-planning for next term, and then we will do the team awards and team pictures and things like that this afternoon. I believe there's cookies coming out at some point. I don't remember exactly what time, but there's Christmas cookies that we're going to provide to you guys. So take 1,000, share. It's not an infinite supply of cookies. But yeah, the rest of today is mostly just a celebration of what you guys have accomplished. Play testing out in the commons when you're done with here. Once we break for awards and pictures, for those of you that are in the studio, I'm done with you. If you want to sign out, go away. We will be back up on Monday. For those of you that are here, a couple of things will happen on Monday. We'll touch base with the ones that got greenlit, start that process, make sure you guys are setting stuff up between now and the start of the term, so your social media, your version control software and things like that. Also, I will probably send you guys some information on just retrospective information that I want to collect from each of you on how we improve the studio so that I can implement that stuff for the spring term. So that'll probably be Monday's agenda. All right, if there are no other questions, I believe Communication Meltdown is up first. All right.
All right, you got 5 minutes. I'm going to time you.
Don't time me. I've got a live.
Time you.
I'm gonna go long. I'll warn you. I'll fight you. It's fine. I don't know where I am.
Sick Adam on.
Have you seen it anywhere?
Let's just stream. Give us just a second.
We're muted.
He is a robot. That does help.
Okay.
Are we sure that it's up anywhere?
Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I think it's in here,
This is
right?
part of your 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh yay!
We're 1 minute in.
Same final presentation at the top. How do I unlock this screen?
Too.
Yep.
Let's see. Freeze. Yeah, should be muted. That's not it. Lynn, you have, is this it? I'm not getting it to unfreeze. Freeze. There, got it.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Austin Harrington. I'm the director for Monster Vault Entertainment. Our team lead over the course of the semester is Rocky Vargas. He's actually sitting in our little office area in the New Technologies Lab. We're about to run a live demonstration of our game via stream, and so we'll be showing that off in just a moment. Our game is called Communication Meltdown. It is a virtual reality multiplayer cooperative game. And so I'm going to show a trailer first, talk a little bit about the game, and then get into the live playtest. Let's hope sound's working. Let's hope YouTube's working. Let's just go to YouTube. There's some sound.
I'm trying to do sound.
I got it.
There you go.
Welcome to the Communication Meltdown Employee Lounge. Rest in luxury before work. Enjoy a drink with a friend. Be sure to clock in. Don't want to work for free loudly. Be sure to leave your pets at home. Await instruction from your supervisor. Please refrain from hindering other workers. A well-handled sequence is always appreciated. The supervisor cannot push buttons for you. This is not an elevator. One input is all that is needed. Please await for authentication from your supervisor. Well, that went as expected.
So we're coming up on our early access release. This is a first pass at what our Steam trailer is going to look like, wherever.
Right here.
Aha! And so we are very excited. We're going to be replacing a lot of that footage, but we've now kind of structured what that's going to look like. We are looking at a February or March release. We don't have a hard date yet, but we wanted to show that off. So, what is Communication Meltdown? Communication Meltdown is a 4-player cooperative puzzler in the style of Keep Talking and No One Explodes and Star Trek Bridge Crew. This is a game about giving and receiving instructions. Let's get rid of Legally Blonde. This is a game about giving and receiving instructions. So one player is given instructions visually. That player will have to communicate those instructions to 3 other players who have to carry out tasks on behalf of the instruction giver. This is a game that's all about voice chat. We are going into early access, as I just mentioned. We're in Unity, and this is a game that is compatible with the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. Now, I'd like to move on to our playtest.
Starting?
Let's hope this goes well.
Alright. Let's go into there. Right there.
We got sound.
Yeah, it's up.
All right. So, as you can see, we've got new text there. We are still integrating the Steam SDK, so we don't have Steam names over the heads yet. That is something that is coming. But you can see we've got 4 players in the environment. We got our working mirrors, which are awesome, by the way, and I love them. Our guys are walking through a wall. Our guys are clocking in now, and then we'll enter our reactor. You guys have seen a lot of gameplay in our first reactor, and so we really wanted to show off what we can do in terms of just the art and the general polish that we're going for with this new reactor. Okay, so this is our steampunk reactor. This is the level of polish we're kind of looking for. We still got some stuff to do in here, but you can see we've got volumetrics and post-processing and some really nice shaders and every other thing. And so we're trying to make that the look of the game going forward. We've still got to bring the first environment up to this level of polish. That'll be coming over the course of the break in advance of release.
Alright, so they should be playing.
There we go. All right, check it.
I thought Schlegel was going to be
Yeah, I
boss.
didn't get it.
Okay.
Time.
What about that? You're bad at this.
Okay.
Talk about what symbols you guys are seeing. Talk louder.
So apparently we are having a small
Keep talking.
issue here, clearly. This is something that happens every time we live stream the game. It works pretty well until we're streaming in a presentation. That was the alarm. Okay. All right, I'm going to give them about 30 seconds and move on to finish this presentation because we don't have time.
Celtic cross. We have one of those?
Okay, something's been pressed.
Okay,
Describe it
things seem to be working.
Oh, I found it, I think. I'm pressing it.
Press it. Cool.
Yep, it's pressed.
So as you guys can kind of see, this game works in sequences. So in this version, in this playtest, the players are looking to find 5 symbols or interactive assets that they have to hit in a certain order to build a sequence. Once that sequence is input, the boss will have to authenticate it. It'll work or it won't, and the next sequence will start. And so we are in the process of authentication.
Can we authenticate?
Did it do it?
Are we at 5?
Yes. Good. Haha.
Okay. They're
still going?
authenticating.
Okay.
They're authenticating right
No, that
now.
one is too. No, I got it. No.
Oh. Did you guys get it? It rejected? Alright. So
Okay, so
The boss.
they didn't quite get that sequence. We're still balancing gameplay. We actually have 3 difficulty settings. This is the hardest difficulty setting, and so some of these we thought we could handle it. Clearly, we're not as good at our game as we thought. Moving forward, we have a roadmap to early access. So as I said, we're looking at February or March for an early access release. We need to finish implementing effects in the steampunk reactor. So as you guys have seen in our first reactor, we have particle effects. We've got smoke. We've got sparks. We got some pretty cool shaders and all that. We got sound effects, so we need to get that into the new environment. We have all those pieces. We just need to wire them up. We need to visually polish the game, as I had mentioned before. We need to integrate Steam, as I had mentioned before. Finalize some UI elements. So for the people that have been here over the course of the semester, you've seen our UI has massively improved. Now we're just prettying it up before release. We need to develop promotional material for Steam. So that's a trailer, that's screenshots, that's a write-up for the game. We need a press kit so that we can ship this thing. We need a new web page. We need to balance and bug fix, and we will be ready for that release. I want to talk a little bit about Monster Vault Entertainment and our work with the UAT Game Studios, because this is our last semester, and we're not sure if we'll end up working with you guys again. We are an alumni studio. We've spent the last 5 semesters building 2 games in production studio, both multiplayer VR games. We've actually developed 5 games with this team, though. Over the course of these 5 semesters, we made 5 virtual reality games, 3 multiplayer virtual reality games. Communication Meltdown, Gigablast, Unholy Descent, Chill Out, and Call Center Simulator. You can play Gigablast on the Global Game Jam webpage. We actually won local judging for the Global Game Jam with that game. Unholy Descent is up on itch.io right now. Communication Meltdown will be available early next year. We've also done an office art pack that we got, asset pack for Unity that we did for Call Center Simulator. So we've got a bunch of stuff coming out next year, and a bunch of stuff you can play right now. One of the things I want to cover real quick, we're going to ship this game. I've been saying for 2 years we're going to ship a game. I've been promising the faculty, and we're going to do it. And as the developers in the room know, having a shipped game, having a portfolio with 5 quality-looking VR titles, I mean, they're student level, but they're great. We're going to get jobs. My team is going to go out and get jobs because you guys were able to help us. And so I want to thank all of you on behalf of on behalf of our company for getting us to that position where everyone can go out, look for jobs, and actually maybe get them right out of college. Follow us on social media. We're doing a play test in the New Technologies Lab right after this presentation. It's the room with the glass walls. We're doing 4 players, and we'd love to talk to anybody interested in hiring game developers. So, thank you guys so much. Good luck to all the other presenters. And that is it. Maybe no legal
Todd
long.
Dickinson and Siege Bots is next.
Hello everybody, I'm Todd Dickinson, project lead for SiegeBots. I'd like to start by introducing my team. It's Anderson Fisher, he's my design lead. He's really been holding everything together as far as design goes and making sure we're heading in the right direction. Gloria Castillo is a designer that's been working on the pieces, different bot pieces for the project, designing them and creating the assets for each of them. John Paul is our engineer. He's been creating the functionality for each of the bot pieces that work with our systems really well. And Scott Massman, he's a designer. He created the levels we've been using throughout the semester. So I'd like to start by showing the 15 weeks of progress we've made. So with the bot builder itself, you know, it's pretty much the same. You can use any of the bot pieces to build a robot however you want. The major changes that have happened here, we added a few new bot parts, and we're using a better system for managing our bot pieces. So rather than, you know, going into the scene and adding a bunch of items to a list, we're using scriptable objects to help manage our system a bit better. So in addition to that, we've made a lot of changes to the AI editor. We've redesigned the UI quite a bit. We separated the movement and combat systems from the rest of the systems. So like before, you can still use any of the parts that you've used on your robot to design the AI and how it works. But there is a separation of the movement and targeting or combat so that it's not reliant on the bot pieces themselves. And again, you get more control of the targeting systems as well. And in the levels, we've added the 9 movement types like exploration, chasing, fleeing, all of those different movement types. We've added size-based pathfinding, so we don't get that wonky movement anymore. and we've added 2 new areas to the game that we've been using for testing pretty thoroughly. So you can follow us on social media and all of that cool stuff. We finished our run through studios, but we still plan to continue working on SiegeBots. Primarily with art, we've got a lot of nice functional systems in place, but they're kind of empty, not a lot of assets. So if you're an artist interested in a project on the side, you can come talk to me afterwards. Other than that, thanks for watching.
All right, now we got Tyler Cook with Junior Achievement.
Good morning, everybody. All right, so make sure this is on my face. My name is Tyler Cook. I am the project lead for the Junior Achievement game. Our goal is to create a digital learning application for the Junior Achievement of Arizona. So what is Junior Achievement? Just to get quickly started, the mission of Junior Achievement is to educate youth and make sure that financial literacy is #1 in elementary through high school, so everybody is ready to go out into the world with the financial knowledge that they need. They go into schools all around the valley and teach students in person, and they hold workshops at their local company as well. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve on that 100 years of success that they've had at this point and make a digital application and allow the company to move into the digital atmosphere. So what is the game that we're making? So we're making a caravan trading game. So helping students learn how to buy, sell, trade. There's some life events in there so they can figure out that sometimes in life things don't always go your way. And then sometimes you win the lottery. And so there's some good and some bad, but it's trying to teach some realistic life scenarios to the kids. They have a personal and a savings account that they need to be managing. We have 3 unique cities that you'll see in a moment that have different tax prices and different food in each city, different shop items. And so then for in town, they're going to have a 60-second day and a 15-day tax cycle. So they will have income taxes taken out at the 15-day mark for that. And then there is a running log so they can continually see everything that's happening and all the transactions they've had. So how far? We started at a complete blank slate at the start of the semester with just an idea. And from there, we went and started building out some of our core systems. So down over here, you can see this is our very, very first iteration at a shop and at buying and selling some stuff. So it's very blank and very basic. Coming up to Sprint 3, we got some houses in, we got some buildings, and so we started to try to get some functionality in there. And then we got all of our UI in. And Kyle Davis was amazing at getting us the UI that we needed. And so for Sprint 4, we wanted to get a couple more towns in there and make sure we had our towns available, and then help get more buildings and more functionality. So to show what we have now, at the end of 15 weeks, 5 sprints, we have a full playable game. This has been in the hands of the clients at this point. Oh, and it's really loud.
You got that setting in there.
Yeah, good thing we have settings that work. And a main menu, which you guys haven't seen before, but we do have a main menu in, so you can go from here. It's going to take you right to the map, so you get to choose what city you want to go to first. It's player choice. So I'd like to go to Scotland. So the cities roughly approximate to real places in the world. So we've got Morocco, Turkey, and then India, and then Scotland for Europe. And the art behind it is to go with that. So we've got our welcome screen. It tells you how much the tax is going to be in the town, so players know right away. We've got some new buildings. We've got a nice art. Our health and morale bars do go down at a consistent rate. We've slowed them down a little bit just to allow players to actually do what they need to do. So I can go into my diner. I can eat a luxury meal, and that'll improve my health and my morale. Only the luxury meals improve your morale. We just need to make sure that there's something in there, some credit to get them some more morale. In addition to that, each city has different food options, so players can choose different foods in different cities. We can travel either in our settings log or through our horse. So our horse will allow us to travel to wherever lake to go. So go to Morocco. And let's see if we can get some events. So There's a 1 in 5 shot every time the dice is rolled here that you're going to get an event. So, all right. We've got our tax cycle coming out. We've got some taxes. They can see what it was before and what it was after. Takes us right into our shop, so we can shop. For inventory, you start with a couple of things and you can buy and sell. When I come into my shop, I can find something that I want and I can pay extra for it, which will allow me to gain some reputation points so that I can sell it back for more money and gain more money later. So I'm going to buy a few things. You can see we've got food, specific food for this area in here. Total it up, and then my tax rate is there, so I can't buy more than I have means for. If I go to my inventory, I should now be able to upsell this. I can only upsell one item at a time, though, so I can't make too much money back. All right, and then I get some cool money back. Now let's go over to India and take a look at that. So again, we've got our screen, we've got new foods over here, different foods over here, so I just need to get my health up a little bit. If we go into the bank, we can pay off our debt and we can also add money to our savings account. So, see, I want to deposit $10 into my savings account, so that'll show up, and then if I want to pay some of my debt off, I can pay $10 of my debt off. Now, when you have events that happen, sometimes there are things that you need to have money for, and you might not have money in your account. And so at that point, the debt is just going to be added on, so you don't have to worry about not having enough money to cover the major life events. It's like taking out a loan. And so that's pretty much, that's where we're at. You can see that our log has all of the main stuff there. So go ahead and exit out. We have achieved the goal that we set out to complete. We have a full working prototype. It is in the client's hands. We've gotten it onto the Chromebook so they can show it to schools. And then next, the clients are going to go out and try to get some financing for us. So going from here, we're going to take it out of production studio and go to a special topics class to allow us a little bit more flexibility and freedom with development. And we all are also offering internships so that we can get as many people to get graduation requirements as possible and help learn and teach along the way, since it is about education. So our main goals moving forward, we want to make sure we're feature complete by the end of the spring so that we have all of the summer to get our beta build done, get the art in, get some polish ready. In the fall, we're going to do a soft launch into schools around the valley. So we'll be taking it into different schools, testing it out, seeing how it's going, try to balance a few things out there. And then spring of next year of 2020, we're going to be doing a valley-wide release, so it will be in all schools in Phoenix and Maricopa County. So that's what we've got. We're really excited to keep working on it. We're going to a 3D Farmville type look, so any 3D artists that want to come help us out, do some low poly art, we'd love to talk to you. And we are just super excited to see what we can get to schools in the valley. Thank you.
Next is Donald Shepis with Gray Area.
All right, let me make sure that this is recording. Where am I?
You better do a good presentation. I talked about you.
Do you know the truth? Or do you accept what the military-industrial complex tells you is the truth? Well, let me... Actually, hold up a minute. All right. Now, they can't send their microwaves into my brain and race my memory and make me go crazy. But let me tell you, there's something they don't want us to know. June 14th, 1947, William Brazel, a farmhand down in New Mexico near Roswell, is working on a sheep ranch when he discovers these weird items scattered throughout a field. Technology that is too advanced to have been made by human hands. Unfortunately, Will Brazel was a fool and told the sheriff, and not long after, officers from the U.S. Army Air Base near Roswell arrived and covered it up. And the government has been participating in years and millions of dollars expended to keep us from knowing the truth, that we are not alone in this universe. I'm Donald Shepis, and this is Gray Area. Gray Area started as a game jam idea that our two shareholders, Doug Doyne and Daryl Wofford, a pair of industry veterans, came together to work with some students and build out what they kind of wanted to be their next prototype for the next idea they wanted to pitch to the game studio. And so with the team that they had, they spent 48 hours and made a simple little running around crash site that the Gray would be able to scan stuff and just kind of to get the basis of what they kind of wanted the vision for this game to be. Then in the production studio over the summer, we spent 7 weeks of pre-production making sure that we had solid game systems in mind, that we had a good core loop that we were building towards, so that way we actually had something to show off at the end as instead of a bunch of disparate systems. We then took 8 weeks of development, which for us that's 10 hours a week, so for us every 4 weeks of development is a single full-time week, so we're doing with what we can. And then we have our build now. We've spent a lot of time iterating and improving on our systems. Because we've gotten the pre-production out of the way, this has been 15 weeks of solid development. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the build and show off our latest iterations. So we've got our main menu art here made by Kylie Adkins, our lead artist. I'll jump right in. So this is the storyboard for the introduction to the game. We found that we kind of had just dumping the player in the crash site wasn't enough, so Michaela Farrell, our storyboard artist, has spent these 15 weeks making a solid intro cinematic to give the player an idea of what's just happened leading up to them jumping into the game. Something that we're going to be focusing on heavily next semester is really building out our first-time user experience, so that way when somebody plays the MVP, they immediately know what's going on and we don't have to spend a lot of time explaining the game to them. So that way they can try and have as much fun in the short window of time they have to play our game. Alright, so here we are at the crash site. Now this is our latest iteration. We have a UI screen here made by Kylie to just kind of show the player what's going on. Travis Corson is the level designer, did a lot of work on this. You can see different pieces made by Kylie Adkins, Michaela Farrell, Jessica Johnson, and Jeff Watanabe. We spent a lot of time trying to iterate on this. We also started using Gaia, and so learning the tools development with Gaia has been a big step for us this semester, and we're still trying to work some things out, like getting trees to have the right shaders on them so that way they work with Gaia and don't have any weirdness with that. You can see the Gray's crash site, and so I'm going to go and try and find a soldier. We've got two main systems in Gray area. We have the ability to read minds of the soldiers to understand what's going on, as well as the ability to disguise ourselves from them, and as well as telekinetic abilities that you can use to move objects. So I'm going to try and sneak up on these guys and not get detected. So I can scan him. You need a number of 3 scans to be able to disguise yourself as a soldier. And I can also go ahead and read his mind. He doesn't have a lot going on because he's a perimeter guard. So let me just run real quick, see if I can get these guys scanned so I can show our disguise system off. Here up to him. Devin Garrett has spent a lot of time getting these gameplay systems working. So now you can see on the far left we have my disguise meter, which is how long my disguise will last, and on the bottom you can see that we have this moving back and forth bar. What that represents is the Gray's ability to make their actions match with the visual of what you see the soldier doing. So if you miss this bar, you are performing as a human wouldn't, and thus people are more likely to see through your disguise. And I'm just going to try and get to our ranch zone real quick before this runs out. I was killed. So I'm just going to go ahead and back to our main menu. So we've got a couple of other zones to show, but I'm going to try and wrap this up real quick because we built this to be 7 minutes and not 5. So after 15 weeks of development, we were able to get our gameplay improvements, our UI work, iteration of the Army Air Base done, and work with a lot of the player feedback we have and give more feedback to the player when they do things. Our plan for next semester is to focus on the first-time user experience, to improve our AI so that way the soldiers are a lot more deadly and a lot more human-like, to continue to increase the amount of UI and player feedback the player gets when they perform actions, as well as overhaul our animations and bring them up to a higher level of quality than we currently have. Opera Skunk is the company that our shareholders have. We're working with them constantly. We focus a lot on mentorship at Gray Area, and we want to make sure that anybody who joins our team learns something and takes the next step to having all of their skills be at that high level of professional that have that high grade level of professional skill. Thank you for your time. I hope to see all of you folks again next semester and work with you on Gray Area.
All right, next is Dakota Stoner with Gangs of Graffiti.
So, hello everyone, my name is Dakota Stoner. I am project lead for Gangs of Graffiti. So, what is Gangs of Graffiti? Well, it's a multiplayer arena tank shooter that takes place in a comic book world. The world is very vibrant and colorful, and there's a gang war that has broken out in Neo Lotus, and everybody is fighting for turf. So, in this world, people are paint. It's based around comic books and all of that. And like I said, they go around and tag territory to try to take it over from other gangs. With our current game mode, it's called Turf Tag, and this, and in the game mode, you have two gangs that will go around and fight over different areas around the map that you go and tag it to take control, and once you have control of the city, you will then win the game mode. So, here's the team. There's me, project lead, Colby Anthony. He is a game designer. Back there is Jordan Leong, another game designer, Jeremy Morrell, another game designer. We have Ben Abar, I don't think he's in here, he's a programmer. We have James Matthew, my lead game artist, and Chandler Emerson, right there, another game artist, and Jonathan Moore, he is an intern for me for Infinitive, and he is a programmer. He's been doing a lot of our multiplayer programming with Photon. So what have we done design-wise over the semester? We have done a lot of cleaning up the park level, trying to get its flow better. We have worked on developing a lot of gangs, describing who they are, what they do, how they look, what kind of weapons and style they have. We started setting up stats for different tank parts and all of that. We started designing the garage so we can use the tank parts to hot swap them during game modes. So you can then go in when you enter a garage, you can then get your tank repaired a little bit and hot swap to a different tank part to try to have more damage or more speed or less drift, etc. We started working on the beachfront and did a massive amount of world building and named the city, the continent that we are in is now called Neo Lotus. The art done, we have done a lot of different tags and gang tags, like we have the spray punks, the aerosols, the canvas backs, we have the fumes tags, tracers, and just a whole bunch of different ones that people can use and tag around the city. Here's some more. We have a grenade model. We have the gyro tank. We have the stream stainer, a gallon gun, and this is one of our new character models that we've been working on over the semester. We have a couple different ones like UI art and menu buttons and all of that. Programming wise, we have, like I said, we have been porting to Photon. We switched over from UNet because Photon, I was told Photon works a lot better and all of that. We worked on getting control points, so this includes UIs pointing the player to where to go to tag buildings, and also being able to have the ability to tag them and adding points and all of that. We started working on the garage. We added in pickups for the game modes and did a lot of menu updates, so just to show off the different things. So this is the kind of menu update / Photon. So it's just you're able to join a lot. You're able to join Photon, start a server, and join the game. There's that. Don't be stupid. Just one of the pick. Oh, dang it. One of the pickups. Able to add more ammo. We have the control point tagging. So when you tag it, it starts adding more points to your team's score. And then lastly is the garage. Is still early in development, but we are working on getting it to actually change the tank stats and all of that. So, new goals for this coming up semester. So, we want to work on implementing a new game mode so we have more than just turf tag. We are going to be working on turf tussle. There's going to be a death match that will be a free-for-all and people can go in. Along with turf tussle, we are wanting to use that to implement our new mechanic fumes so we can then have people play it, get a lot more feedback so we can then go through and design it better and make it flow and all that. Next, we want to work on getting more stylized art. This is so it all matches a lot better. We want to try to push for early access, as well as in entering into the Independent Games Festival, October next year, I guess. I'm not sure. So design-wise for this semester, we want to work on white boxing the beachfront and cityscape. We have white box and work on getting more of it done. We have just a general layout of it, but we want to work on getting it a lot better. The beachfront is going to be a lot more open space to where there's not a lot of cover and all of that, and you're just fighting each other constantly. The cityscape, we're trying to go for a lot more verticality and enclosed areas, so we're going to be working on adding like elevators and stairs and cannons to move around the map a lot faster. We're also going to be working on actually describing what turf tussle is and everything that would be going on in it. Art-wise, we want to work on making more character models as well as getting those rigged and animated so we can actually get them into engine, make more weapons, have different tanks, and a more diverse environment so we don't have just like boxes, just all boxes for buildings, so they stand out a lot more from each other. Programming, we want to work on getting the weapon system so you'll be able to have loadouts when joining the game, so you aren't just joining with the exact same weapon as everybody else. We want to have tank selection to where you can choose a different tank to start the game with or something. And then we want to actually get turf tussle implemented into the game. Who we need for that? We just need gameplay programmers that know C#, programmers that know Photon, level designers that are really good at doing arena-style maps and documentation, 3D artists, stylized animated trees, characters, weapons, and tanks, and 2D artists for UIs and banners. And, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we have and at our website you're able to go in and download the game. So, thank you.
All right, next is Regis Jerry with Looters of the Arcane.
I don't want to touch it. Oh, I didn't break it. Yes.
Not yet. Well, can't find his presentation.
Hello everybody, I'm Regis Jerry. I am the project lead for Looters of the Arcane. It's a game where you fight when you can, run when you can't. We are under development under Evil Bear Gaming. If you wanted to find our game, you can head to the website We have links to the actual builds. We updated it pretty frequently. What is Luda? Luda is a survival horror experience where the player has two objectives: secure the arcane object and then get out alive. We are focusing more on creating anxiety in the player and less on actually creating real fear. Reason being is we kind of ended up leaning towards it, so we just decided to roll with the flow. Our core features is that we travel back in time, we conduct antiquities operations, and every environment has its own personality. It's made in the Unity engine, and our multiplayer is using Photon. The first two levels that we ended up developing the first semester was we polished off the Asylum, and then we added Ancient Egypt. And then following that, we ended up creating the Hub World. The Hub World is the area where the player does tutorials, learns about everything from how to shoot the gun, how to pick up and throw objects, and even how to kill specific enemies, because some enemies can only be killed by the environment. And then this semester we added in Ancient Greece. It's an environment where it has a mischievous personality, so it has false walls, and we're going to be adding new features coming up later. And then kind of my most favorite level for this semester was Feudal Japan. Its personality is playful. The enemies in it are the Shinigami Mask and then the Ghost Swords. The Ghost Swords are by themselves, and then the neutral NPC of the level is the doll. You have to play with the doll, you have to do different mini games to end up actually pleasing the doll, and if you don't, then that's when the Shinigami Masks come out, because the doll is angry because you wouldn't play with it. Coming up next semester, what we want to do is we want to add one final map to really round off all the personality types. New content this semester, we added in the tutorials finally. We have a gun range that actually looks like a gun range now. The terminal is really big because before it was just through a menu system, didn't really feel very good, and then we ended up actually having it to where now you can head to a terminal, select your destination, and then travel there. Now we also have a new gun. It's not quite implemented yet. We have the model in, we just don't have it programmed in to actually function with the player. The new content for the levels, like I said, we have Ancient Greece and Feudal Japan. Feudal Japan, as you can see, has giant swords slamming down into the ground. Those are marking the exits. We wanted to kind of, because it's our largest level so far, we wanted to be able to show off where all the player can actually escape once they end up finding the arcane object. We also did get in a new enemy model, that is the Mummy. What the Mummy does is it actually starts off invisible, and if you end up getting too close to it, it shows itself and will start barreling at you as fast as it can. What we're going to be doing in the future is the Mummy is actually going to be in the walls, and it'll be following you along, hiding in the hieroglyphs. And if you disturb the level in any way, it's going to hop out and then actually, yell at you. We do have some sound in. This is just a list of some of the other mechanics and content that we got in. Some of them I've already talked about. Some of them are really good. The sound effects, that was one of the major things we were pushing for this semester. We ended up getting 2 sound designers. We got really lucky. They weren't in production studios. And we were able to get voice recordings done, sound effects for the guns, and various objects around the levels. We did get some music in. And then going forward, what we want to do is we need probably 1 or 2 more artists, but we really need character artists. Because as you saw, the character wasn't exactly, a really terrifying mummy. We have some of the characters being worked on already. That's more contractor work. But we want to actually have characters being done by the studio. We do want to redo our UI. We need at least 1 level designer going forward, because we have 2 levels that need to be finished. One is the hub world. Most of it's still white boxed out. And then whatever the new level is going to be, it's going to be needed to be built from the ground up. As for programmers, we need 2 or 3 programmers. 1 for multiplayer, that would be his only job. And then for the other 2, we want to be able to get the personalities actually flowing. So for that, they're going to be doing lots of work in AI programming and then environment interaction. What we want to do is we want to polish the 4 existing levels, expand with 1 final level, and and then we want to release it to the public. We're planning to release it sometime in the spring on early access. However, we can push that date back if it doesn't quite feel polished out enough. And then I want to show a short message from our AOA representative. This is going to be loud. No. So when the player comes in, this will be the first thing that they see. Press E to activate, and we're going to be actually putting this in as a little speaker, maybe a hologram. We haven't really decided.
Hello, and welcome, Looter, to AOA, Arcane Object Acquisitions. Here, you will be able to train on how you can accomplish your mission to secure arcane objects from across time. Head to the terminal in order to select a destination. It is advised to train on the basics of each region before visiting them, but you should be fine as long as you remember our company motto. Fight when you can, run when you can't.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next we have Marcos Escobar with Rift Wars.
Hello, my name is Marcos Escobar, and I am the project lead for Rift Wars, which is a strategy digital card game that I've been working on since my start here at UAT. Currently, our team consists of myself as the lead designer, as well as the project lead, Merlin Call, our programming lead, Kefni Charles, who is also our secondary programmer, Keely Jacobs, and Preston Campbell, who are both our artists on the team as well. What is Rift Wars? Rift Wars, as I've said, is a digital strategy card game that is a little bit different from most traditional card games. The game utilizes a three-deck system which separates the three major card types in the game and creates a new level of play for players to engage in, and it actively encourages more strategy than luck, like some card games suffer from a lot of the time. Right here, these three first cards on the screen represent the three major card types, which are the unit cards, the territory cards, and the equipment cards. The unit cards are your soldiers in your army. They are in charge of fighting your opponent and eventually giving you the victory of the game. The territory cards act as buffers for your unit cards as well as yourself, giving you extra resources, allowing you to do different things with your unit cards, and just generally changing the flow of gameplay as you progress through the game. The equipment cards add little bonuses to yourself as well as your unit cards. Sometimes they will give you more resources. They'll give your unit cards more attacks. Sometimes they will permanently upgrade certain types of cards, so it will drastically change the flow of combat as you progress through the game as well. And the final card on the end is the general card. The general card acts as your representative in the game. His job is to command your army, and if he dies, you lose. And if your opponent's general card dies, you win. Okay, so at the beginning of the semester, we had nothing in terms of game. We had the game design document down. We had a build within the tabletop simulator, but in terms of a actual build, our own build for the game, we had nothing. However, I'm happy to say that we have progressed a lot throughout these few weeks, and we have managed to build the framework and the base that we need to continue on in the future and make this the game we want it to be. And here you can see some of the amazing artwork that we got from our team members throughout the course of the semester as well. So, as I said, we didn't have anything within this past semester. We managed to get an engine up and running. We have the framework that we need to build upon the game, add in new mechanics, add in new cards, new settings, and things that will help improve the game overall as we progress with our work, hopefully next semester. We also have a bunch of new artwork that has replaced some of the older assets that have been with the game since my start here at UAT, which is probably 2 years old at this point. But now we have some amazing new artwork to go with the cards, as well as new templates for all the cards that we have in the game as well. If we are accepted back into the Greenlight next semester, what we hope is to continue expanding on our catalog of cards as well as the artwork we have for the cards, adding in new mechanics, adding in the territory cards, adding in the equipment cards, as well as starting the work in adding the next faction for the game. Currently, we only have the one, which is the Chaos Organization, as well as continue on just improving the game's overall look and feel. We will also be revamping some of the older art assets we did not get a chance to get to, and just making the game look better overall. So for next semester, we need more artists and we need programmers. Artists and programmers can design is something that I've learned time and time again, but what we really need are artists and programmers to work on the new card art, to help build up the engine and make it more fleshed out than it is this semester, and hopefully have a full-fledged game we can share with more people here in the studio. Thank you. This is our Twitter, which is Rift Wars, which you can go at Rift Wars on Twitter, as well as our website, which will update on our progress as well. And I have a demo to share with everyone. It appears to be missing. Oh, here it is. So currently we have two things to interact within the game, which is the collection, which holds all the artwork and templates for the cards in the game, as well as the basic play functionality of the game as well. So if you go in here, you can see all the cards that we have cataloged. You can look at the artwork. Hopefully, eventually we will have it so you can look closer at the cards, get a nice detailed look at all the artwork that we have from our artists, and examine the various stats of the cards themselves. Currently we have the ability to draw cards onto the field, as well as for the opponent to do as well. The cards currently have active health, so if a card were to attack another card with more health, with more of attack or more health than it does have an attack, the health will change as a result. No glitch on that. Here we have our general cards, which we will be making more of next semester as well. And we have the graveyard, which will keep track of all the cards you lose during gameplay and help you strategize better with what cards you have remaining in your deck. And that is it. Thank you.
All right, next is John Cavassi with Dawn of the Dreadnoughts.
What do I present? Oh. Okay.
Back into present. That bottom part will just go away once it starts doing stuff.
Hello everyone, my name is John Cavassi. I'm the project lead for Dawn of the Dreadnoughts. Before I start this presentation, I would just like to give a big thank you to my team. Without them, this game would basically still be a pipe dream. So what is Dawn of the Dreadnoughts? Dawn of the Dreadnoughts is a game in which the player takes command of an army currently fighting on the hull of two massive dreadnought capital ships. The player uses this army along with their dreadnought to destroy the enemy dreadnought. Now, one thing that separates Dawn of the Dreadnoughts from your stereotypical RTS is that the map you actually play on is the dreadnought. The dreadnought interacts with the player and the world at large. Over the course of the past 15 weeks, my team and I have really focused in on building a really powerful and stable core. And to talk more about that, I have my lead programmer, Nathan Scott, who will tell you more.
Morning, everybody. So our big focus, our theme this semester was that the more we built onto our game, the more we started to realize that a lot of the stuff we'd engineered last semester was severely limited. So we ended up having to do a lot of refactoring. We moved to a physics-based movement system in the game, which immediately broke our building system. So then we had to develop a raycasting mouse system to use with our building. And that worked out really well because it also works with our unit movement as well as any other future features that need a mouse over kind of deal. We also worked on building a scriptable object system for designers. We've got buildings, units, upgrades that you can throw onto buildings so that you can learn them for units, as well as individual turrets that designers can just go in and very quickly create that object and add in the attributes for those buildings. We're still working on building a lot of building functionality, and that's one of our goals for next semester. We're also working on, we have the foundation laid for our nav mesh system. Anybody who's using nav mesh in Unity knows that nav meshes don't work very well with movable objects. We've got a workaround in place for that. So next semester, that's one of our big goals, is to get that fully implemented so that we can actually have our units moving around the ship and navigating the different tiers of the ship. I'll pass this back to John.
All right. So, like my lead programmer said, next semester is going to be a big one for Dawn of the Dreadnoughts. By the end of the next semester, the team and I will have a feature-complete alpha available for download on Steam, along with an epilogue level that will serve to really introduce the player to the game and really sort of set the stage for this big epic battle and epic campaign that we will develop later out of studio. So as of right now, my team stands at 2 programmers, the beautiful Nathan Scott, along with Anthony Ondelio. There are 2 designers, myself and the beautiful Jade McGriffin McClinton. I'm sorry if I messed that up. Right. Along with our amazingly talented artist, Martez Miniweather. This team, I just want to say, they're everything to me. I don't know if I told you guys that yet, but you guys are just the best. Thank you so much for your hard work. And I want to cry now, but I know I can't. So, yeah, just thank you guys. I couldn't have done this without you guys.
We'll schedule our afternoon crying later.
Alrighty. Going into next semester, what I'm really going to need to make this game really come alive and to really show the epicness of this world that me and my team are created are just 1 to 2 artists. With them, we can build our awesome new dreadnoughts that my artist actually showed me last night. I think he called one of them like the Blood Razor or something. I don't know. It looks really cool. It's got spikes and everything. There's one dreadnought that has a massive freaking cannon on it that just aligns up and just blows away the competition, literally. And it's some really good stuff. I'm very thankful for all the hard work that they put into it. So to wrap things up, the Dawn of the Dreadnoughts is coming. And with your help, it'll be even more glorious. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to follow us on social media at twitter.com/GameOfDreads and join our new community Discord by following the invite link below. Thank you for your time. My name is John Cavassi, and this was Dawn of the Dreadnoughts.
All right. Welcome back. Yes. Quiet.
It was very quiet in the back. It was very good.
All right, so yeah, welcome back. We're going to start off, as I mentioned before, with a presentation by Life or Death and James Fisher. Make it happen, buddy.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, James Fisher, project lead for Life or Death. And you might be asking yourself, what is Life or Death and what are we trying to achieve? Life or Death is an arena fighter where the goal is to gain renown so that you could build up your home village's glory. Basically, you get out there in the arena, so nice. You can see my pretty face. You get out there in the arena and you battle for the glory of your village so that you can expand and have your village grow, and as it grows, people can come in and see all the great things you do for it. And as developers, what we want to achieve and always do is strive for a successful, passionate community experience so that everybody is just, loving the game and loving how we do it. The team, we have before I say anything, without these people, ain't nothing getting done. ain't no one crushing it as hard as our team's crushing it. They are the best, Roger. We have our lead artist, David Schaefer, lead programmer, Michael, artist Steven, artist Raylan, lead designer, Emmanuel, and designer Nathan Harper. That's our online dude. That dude puts in so much time. He is constantly on the grind. Ain't nothing that man can't do, Roger. So what we focused on heavy this semester was jumping over to different cultures for our weapons. So some of the weapons you're looking at here that we were able to get in were the Odachi, some katanas. We were also able to get in a Mario Rubin for that knightish style type armor, along with some spears and stuff of that nature. And we also were able to get props in that were more Japanese oriented for that type culture for main villages, and depending on what culture you do choose to start with and what you want to run with. Not only that, we were able to get some buildings in. This is some of the blacksmith buildings. So like as you upgrade and get further along, he becomes more clean and polished. So you're not always at that broke down, ain't got no money, hurting for life. So what are our next goals? We want to have new weapons, new buildings, and we want to start polishing multiplayer. The two new cultures we want to hit for are Aztecs and Spartans. This is some of the concept art we have from some of our artists. We really want to get out there and have new armor for them, new weapons, really just get to show off the fact that every culture is different, their weapons, the way they live, the way their villages are all laid out, just changing all that. What we need is artists. We have already stellar programmers and designers. We would need more artists because some of our artists are leaving us. Sucks to suck. Let me just get right into the build here. And this shows off a little bit of what our programmers were able to achieve with the AI. We have multiple difficulties for our AI so that you can, try it on hardest difficulty. I challenge anybody who wants to try it. No one has beaten our AI on the hardest, well, except me. And it's pretty difficult. It's pretty challenging. So, I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I would get over there and try it out. I tell you what. This is that was our main hub. I should have went over it more, but this is our our hub. Right before you go into PvP or do anything, this is where you'll be sitting, waiting for people who want to challenge you in matches. Sitting here drinking a nice brew with your friends, just chit chatting before the arena, before you get in there and fight for glory. I'm gonna do it on easy because time's sake.
We can beat it on hard.
We're gonna be here all day. So we got lock on the AI. We also were able to get in a lot of particle effects and sound. I'm just gonna mollywop this guy. We got combos and everything. We also were able to optimize it for both controller and keyboard because we started out originally with just controller. But yeah, that's our game loop. Thank you for your time, and once again, remember, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Come try our game.
Last of the returning teams that are presenting is Nathaniel White with Aegis, and this is the ACS group, or our Advanced Computer Science team.
Hi, my name is Nathaniel White, and my project is, or our project is Aegis, and we are the ACS group. So, as distinguished from a lot of the game programmers, we are mostly focused on software development. So we come from a different background. We had a lot of more leeway this time because we're not strictly, we don't strictly follow the studio rules. We were allowed to pick any project we wanted. We were allowed to develop in pretty much any way we wanted, so long as we had our approval from our teachers. But what we decided to do was, because we're in production studios, is try to compete with the game studio at their level. And I learned a couple things. So actually, let's just go ahead and spin up the game right now and show you what it looks like. Pretty impressive stuff, right? I mean, hey, we have trees, we have rocks, and not only that, but our player can teleport at light speed. You don't see these mechanics in just any game. The tiles have different colors, alright? I want to really talk about this. Alright, so making a game is harder than we initially thought. Coming from ACS, you're like, it's a game, it's put in an hour or two, it'll be done, But we start with 6 programmers. No one with game experience, no artists. We just hey, it came out from ACS point of view, and we actually got something done, so it's really impressive. This is my team, Bailey Herbert, basically the entire team. Our lead programmer and architect, he refactored everything we wrote, made it actually work. Really great programmer. We have another programmer, Jordan Brown. He's the sort of visionary behind the game. We have Garrett. He's quiet but brilliant. You give this man a job and it's done. Alex, he has a joke or a snarky remark for every single scenario. It really brings the life out of the team. Rashab, which goes ahead, and he actually poured this over to multi-platform. You'll see that in the end. Me, the team lead, and Daniel, who actually provided the entire art for everything you see in the game. So this guy is one man team. Crazy. So as I said, we started out from nothing. We put a grid down. I was feeling pretty confident that that's basically a game. We have a grid. But there's a lot more to it. The tree models, I actually made these. I was quite proud. I used only spheres and cylinders. Look at the random tree generation. That's purely random. That's my best attempt at a Burax. I think it's pretty good, but... So after we got some art and worked on the map generation, you see that we went through different iterations. This is actually using Perlin noise, so random map generation. And our vision for this, because it's changed multiple times, because we're allowed to sort of like meld with it, was originally to be an RTS, sort of like Age of Empires. So like, let's make Age of Empires, but better. Props to those guys. It's much harder than it looks. So the reason you don't actually see a lot of in here is because we've written this like ACS students. That was our biggest flaw going through the half of the semester. We wrote entire classes, thousands and thousands of lines of code of handling an RTS, like an RTS-based system. But it doesn't really help with the main gameplay loop, which we hope to implement sort of last. Coming from more of a game production point of view, you really should start with the main gameplay loop and then expand backwards towards mechanics, towards functionality. And in the last couple of weeks, that's exactly what we did. And I am very proud to say it looks great. We scrapped everything, rewrote it using components like Unity was designed to be written with, and we actually made a working tower defense game with, it actually has an online version as well. So all the maps, this is where the community-driven part comes in, you can design a map on any computer, upload it, and it'll go into our server, and any other player can download it, rate it, play it. Think Happy Wheels, but better. So let's go ahead and spin up the new build. Crazy, an actual menu. So if we go to level editor, you can pick your map size, continue. You can place, these are purely decorational for now. You can design your own map, and this is where the community part comes in. Because a player could potentially design their own map, make it as easy or as difficult as they like, so long as there is a pathing tile connecting from somewhere on the edge going to the castle. Units will automatically be spawned, and they'll go ahead and try to path to the castle. So, upload that. Presentation. And it's already here. We're not going to play that one. These are all stored on the server, and we can play any one of these. Let's go ahead and start with the sandbox. So as you can see, this was pre-designed. I didn't have this on the computer. It downloaded from the server. We don't have any models for the players yet, but we only have one artist in these contracts, so this is pretty impressive, I have to say. We have water, we have bridges. They'll automatically path to the castle. We can place towers. It's all very much work in progress, but for for ACS students who have really never made a game before and sort of cranked this out in the last couple weeks, I'm really proud of what we've done, and I couldn't ask for a better team. Now, everyone says that their team's the dream team, but mine's really the best. This actually works on mobile as well, as I'm sure all of you are aware, because Unity can be ported over. So everything's scalable. The UI is designed to be able to drag and drop or click and place. So it's very easily ported over to the mobile platform. And coming up with more art essence, improved gameplay, online leaderboards, this is all very easily accomplishable stuff now that we've sort of gotten to the ribbon of things, understand how games are made, and really grown to appreciate that as easy as it seems. Thank you.
Now we got our last two presentations, which are newcomers trying to get in for the first time. First one is with Justin Griffin McClinton and Project Techno.
Hello guys, my name is Justin Griffin McClinton, and I am the project lead and project owner of Project Techno. So what is Project Techno? Sadly, it is not an RTS. I'm sorry. But what I can tell you is Project Techno is a rhythm racing game that takes a new position on how the racing is done. How, you might ask? Well, what if I told you that the racers are driving blind and the only way they can navigate is using echolocation? So, before I get into the nitty-gritty of things, let me tell you about my team who's helped me along the way to get this prototype done. We have over here Nathaniel White, ACS major, and he's helped me with a majority of my mechanic programming. And we have Dakota Stoner, who is a game design student, who's helped me with the menu settings. So, what do we have so far? It doesn't look like much, but when I tell you, the echolocation script bounces off the walls so that it connects and shows the player what's close in proximity and what's there and what's not. The second screen shows you what happens when objects are there, but they're not seen. So it'll bounce off the wall and give the player an identity of what's there, so they can't crash into the wall. And boy, I can show you better than I can tell you. Where is it? There it is. Sorry. So we have our play and quit button, fully functioning UI right now. And right now, it shows off the player model, the ship, you're controlling the ship. And right here, things start to go invisible. Right now, there's a wall that connects from here, and see, I can't move anymore because I ran into the wall. So I'm going to navigate through here using the path of the echolocation. They're showing me that I should go to the lower left corner for a clear path. Try to navigate through. Yeah. So we have that functioning right now. Go back to the presentation at hand. What do I want to get done for the next iteration? For future iterations, I want to get a new track available. Right now, I need a designer or multiple designers to create a map that's home feeling. I don't want players to race around where there's nothing but walls. I want streets. I want lampposts. I want them to get an idea that there's a city. They're not just racing around in just walls and ground. Also along with that, I want 3D artists to, flesh it out. Player and vehicle models. Right now we're working with concepts because I don't want anything to have four wheels. Everything is based on sound, so kind of levitation. I want to avoid four-wheel drives. And players are all designed to have, blind aspects. So one player model might have a blindfold. One player model might have lampshade on top of their head. Things that signify that they can't see. Along with this, I want to incorporate more of original audio, because right now we're using copyleft music, but having our own audio and implementing our own audio gives it more of a unique and homely vibe. And for programming, I want to tweak more of the functionality of it, redefine our echolocation, and redefine our compatibility, because it is supposed to be dual tandem. One player works as the DJ and one player works as the driver, and they work in co-op in tandem to get to the goal. And in future iterations, I hope to have controller support. So overall, about 1 to 3D artists, 2 to 4 3D artists, 3 to 5 programmers that work with UI, multiplayer, gameplay systems, 2 audio engineers to freshen up the track beats, and 2 to 3 level designs to give us a fleshed out map of what their world might contain. Thank you for your time, and you can see us on our current updates at our Twitter handle and our Facebook handle. Thank you.
All right, last we have Kyle Davis with Guardians Legacy.
Alright, hello everyone. My name is Kyle Davis, and before I get into this, I just want to thank every other presenter here. They did an amazing job. It's been an amazing time working with everyone here as my time here. And whoever gets in, I just want to say you've earned it. So Guardians Legacy, what I want to convince with this is the system that you can put something old with something new. The idea that you can have anything and nothing at the same time. Now, what do I exactly mean by that? I want to put it on something akin to a toaster, or in this case, a PlayStation 1. It's something I grew up with. It's what got me into this industry. It's something very near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to bring the graphical aspect of old RPG games in a low poly style to the new age technology that we have today. I wanted to bring a system that we can actually show off all the entirety of the power of game engines with the nostalgia that we can share with the newer generation. Guardians Legacy is a linear RPG system that has a few interesting concepts that you don't really see in combination with each other. First off is all your skills, you build them yourself. From the beginning of the game to the end of the game, all you do is buy nodes of skills and create exactly what you want your character to be. It's exactly what you envision, so it's not the same as any other character. Another thing is everything in the overworld can be avoided. You don't have to do combat if you don't want to, but at the same time, you're probably not going to have a fun time. Another thing with that is I want to use a traditional turn-based RPG base to give that old nostalgia feel, along with a linear story and classic graphics. Along with that, I want the town and overworld to all be one consistent thing. The only time you see a loading screen is when you go into a building or a cave. It will be in Unity, and soon it will be under an LCC under a company named Abstract Multimedia, which has a vision to actually see this come to market. What we need for this project, I'm looking for 3 designers, 3 artists, and 2 programmers. Basically, we need a job for everything right now. The team is just me as a game lead and a design, along with my partner Devin Garrett, who has helped me through the whole process of getting this base build into Unity, helping me with the systems, and figuring out what exactly we wanted this game to be. So our plan is we want to get our base iteration cycle down of our base combat and skills. We wanted to get the first 2 areas and the overworld between them, the enemy AI, and items. This will give us a solid core game loop that we can then expound upon later and make the full game in far less time than it would take if we built each system individually. This is our plan for the first 15 weeks of our project. Each one of these has already been budgeted out with the coding time and everything, and we plan strict adherence to this with leeway time in our final sprint so that if we need time to polish, we can. Before I get into the build, I just want to give everyone my contact information and invite anyone after this presentation to come talk to me afterwards. Now, into our build, we have most of the combat system done, along with our skill system. This is a main emphasis around making sure that we have everything we need to get our main core gameplay down. So first off, we have player stats, and you can actually figure out exactly what these do usually. The interesting thing for these is strength and intelligence, they don't mean exactly what you think. These also go into our skill point system of what your essentially mana would be to cast skills. But in this case, these also augment the power of them. If we go into what I'm explaining with our actual skill-based system, what we have so far is the entire coding behind how our skills will work. We just need to hook it up to our node-based system, and it will be virtually complete at this point. So what we have, you can increase or decrease stages and choose different aspects of what you want your skill to be, and depending on that, it increases the cost of the attack. Now, we can name that, save it, and then we can go and check it in our index, and it will be seen here. Overall, this is a passion project for me, so I invite anyone who wants to also have a great time, join me on this team. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's all the presentations. I'm not sure how long we're going to kind of break up. What do you guys think? Because we're a little off schedule. I'm not sure what time we want to break up and come back, but this...
Well, first, another round of applause for everybody because of the And we also want to recognize our rainbow guys. Just want to show a little hand there so you can identify us. Thank you so much for coming out. All right, why don't we break for, let's see, we've got a 12:17. Let's come back at 2 o'clock. We'll make it a nice long run so we have time to visit with our rainbow game and grab some lunch. We'll do our review and we'll come back at 2 o'clock for our decision. All right, thank you.
All right, break. Pause the live stream.
Yes.
All right, we're going to pause the live stream, come back at 2.